box just came in. Not gonna lie, it was a little delayed. I understand with COVID there's gonna be delays and all. It was still shipped in with UPS second day air. The only thing I have to complain about so far is that the box kind of busted open when I picked it up off the porch. Ordered this head unit from Crutchfield. Got a nice support manual here. Sure we'll need that later. We got an adapter unit here. It helps adapt any, factory wiring harnesses that have the alarm go through the radio first. Because if you just go wire an aftermarket radio straight to the car harness, if the car has, say, an alarm or OnStar hooked up to the speakers through the head unit, if you don't get one of these adapters, it's not going to work. The radio head unit's not going to work, speakers aren't going to work, because this car is going to go into a safety override because it can't use the speakers for any of those safety features. So you really do need one of these with any newer vehicles. We're doing this on a 2006, I believe, Nissan Xterra. So Nissan Xterra, Nissan Frontier, same thing. You're going to want one of these, otherwise head unit's not going to work. All right. This is also fairly important if you care anything about looks. This is going to be our fascia, so it's going to take care of any extra space that is not filled by the head unit, because you can put a small head unit into a bigger hole. You cannot go the other way around. You cannot put a double DIN into a single DIN hole. It will not work. Trust me. So we put a double DIN into a double DIN hole, but there still needs to be a fascia to A, hold the radio in, and B, take care of that extra space. So that's super helpful. And then obviously guys, you need the head unit. Gosh dang. Look at all those packing peanuts. That's actually awesome. Good job, Crutchfield. The Boss BV775B. This is the Boss double DIN touchscreen head unit. It does Bluetooth, has CD, does hard drive, all that good stuff. The reason I chose this one is because it has the biggest display and it's compatible with cameras if we ever want to add them down the road. I don't understand, why do car head units come with remotes? Like, it's a car head unit, it's right there. You're driving here, head unit's right here, just click a button. Why is there a remote? Do you want your 5-year-old child controlling the radio? Like, what what's going on, guys? I just noticed something. It says to dissolve or compost the packing peanuts. That's awesome. They're not going to pollute the environment. Like, I'm not a huge conservationist, but dude, that's sick. Anyways, enough about that. The head unit. Alrighty, I cut the tape open. I was going to do a cool little intro by opening the box with my knife, like I typically do, but it busted open when I brought it inside the house. So that was a no-go. Open this up, little instructions manual for the head unit itself. Okay, so in the head unit box itself, we have 4 different packages. 1, the manual. 2, some mounting brackets, some generic mounting brackets. We obviously are going to be using this mounting system and fascia. The head unit itself, which is actually pretty large, not going to lie. It's got a 7-inch screen on it, I believe. And then a bag with the harness that goes to the head unit and a remote. Now you do need this harness, because this harness is going to convert the pins on the head unit to the pins on this sound system interface. And then the sound system interface is going to convert the sound frequencies from this to the car's speakers. And it's going to allow the car to run security systems through the speakers, like your door chime, your seatbelt chime, and all that good stuff. So once you've unbagged everything, this is what you're going to get in simple. This harness for the head unit is basically going to be all your power inputs and your antenna output. Your constant 12-volt input, your accessory that clicks the relay in the head unit, ground, obviously. There's an illumination input, so if you have the adjustable interior lighting, you're going to put that signal here. Your speaker plug, which is pretty simple, it's just positive and grounds for all the speakers. Then you're going to have various extra outputs and inputs for cameras. So this has power for cameras, and it has a reverse input to activate the reverse camera. It has a remote signal and a parking brake input signal. Now I want to start at the back of this head unit just to show you it has the place for the 3 plugs here, here, and here. This looks like 1, it's 2, they're split down the middle. And there's a fuse here, which is awesome. Did not expect that. And there's plenty of preamp outputs here. So you could run a sub or your entirely own speaker system on an independent amp. Here you got an antenna input. This thing is pretty nice. It looks like a pretty good build quality, considering I thought Boss was more of an entry-level head unit company. Button feels real nice and solid. There's really no play in it. I have the $30 Boss head unit, and the Camaro is a singled-in, simplest thing ever, and it feels way cheaper than this. This feels like it's actually good quality. They have a nice little screen protector here for when it's in packaging. CD input, mounting brackets, like I said, remote, manual for the head unit, Crutchfield installation support manual. Then over here, you have, they call it the factory sound interface system. I think this is very important. If you're running a factory amp, this will run a signal to the amp for the amp to then take that and amplify it to all the speakers. This car does have a factory amp, so we needed that. If it has the bass audio, there might not be an amplifier. You might get away with not using this. I would still use this and caution against avoiding it, simply because this will simplify everything. You know, the magic black box here is going to take care of any issues you might have, and it's really simple. This is going to plug into your factory car harness. In this case, it's a Nissan's harness, and it literally just plugs in. You wire that to these harnesses over here for the head unit. You don't have to modify your factory harness. Really, really simple way to go. Really good idea. Wiring up these radios is as simple as this. You have to match the right color wire to the right color wire. No, I do not mean match the red to the red or the black to the black. In theory, that's how it should work, but it's not, because this is a universal system. What I mean by match the correct wire to the correct wire is match, you know, the right front speaker positive to the right front speaker positive on this thing, and this is already wired to the car harness. So just always remember to wire the correct wire to on the head unit harness to the correct wire on the interface. Without further ado, let's just wire her up and get her installed. So as you can see here, it's not just preamp outputs actually. There are 4 preamp outputs, there are 2 subwoofer preamp outputs, 2 camera inputs, one for the rear camera, one for the front camera, a video input, a video output, a left audio input, and a right audio input. So in order to properly use this fascia kit, it is for either a Nissan Titan or the Frontier Pathfinder Xterra and Suzuki Equator. Depending on your application, you'll either need to remove these side 2 tabs, because these side 2 tabs are used for the Titan, and because we're using the kit for an Xterra, we need the top and the bottom tab, so remove these tabs. On the contrary, if you're using it in a Titan, you're going to want to remove the top and bottom and leave the side tabs. It's going to end up looking something like this. Nothing's on that side. It's a little rough there where I removed it. That's okay. Best way I found to do it is to take the piece, grab some wire cutters, put the tip of the wire cutter on the edge of that tab we need to remove, bite down on it, and then twist to the side like this. Twist like that. And then put a little more bite on it, a little more bite, and twist. And eventually the whole thing will come off just like that. Quick but important side note, your parking brake input, simply on most head units, it's just going to be a 12-volt input. Now it is definitely easiest to just go ahead and run that wire directly to the signal side of the parking brake switch at the parking brake pedal. Disclaimer, you should never drive and watch video at the same time. It's illegal, it's dangerous, don't do it. It's not cool. So in this cluster of wires, you're not going to use a good amount of them. These 4 are for low-level inputs. This head unit's high level, so either way, you're going to be losing 4 wires there. Not everybody has a power antenna. Not everybody has an accessory trigger. All right, after about 45 minutes, got everything soldered up. I simply left the end caps on these wires that I'm not using. This is our power antenna input. Didn't need to wire that up simply because there's no power antenna on the vehicle, as you can see. I just used the power antenna output on here as the amp trigger. Let's get her thrown in the vehicle now. So for this style of Xterra, pretty simple installation. You pop off this top cap here. Got to get a flathead or a panel trim piece remover. Just stick it in there, pry this up. There should be a screw. So to remove this upper tray, just pry up on all 4 corners. They have little clips like so. Now remove this little screw. Next, to get this panel off, just put your fingers under here and pull straight forward on the top. And then you're gonna have to come under here on the side of it. You'll put your fingers right here basically and just pull straight forward. The clips will all come undone and it'll come forward. You can lean that out of the way. Then you have 4 screws, one right here, one right here, one right down here, and over on the driver's side, one down there. Now simply pull forward the head unit and unplug any wiring connected to the back. After you've taken out the 4 clips, don't forget the antenna. When reinstalling your head unit, be sure to plug in your antenna, otherwise the head unit will not turn on in this specific vehicle. I just pushed this piece back on because it was easy enough. And the head unit looks clean in there. It's got the trim piece, did a good job. I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to not fit at all, but it fits nice and snug in there. Now just put in this top screw, click the tray back on, and you've got yourself a working radio. So this head unit's awesome. It sounds great. It's got lots of volume to it. It really helps these stock speakers out. It does have the Rockford Fosgate system in here, but that stock head unit was not doing it justice. It could not utilize those speakers to their full potential. This head unit does the trick. There was one weird kink the first time I fired it up. I had to switch from Bluetooth to radio back to Bluetooth to get the audio to work. However, now the audio is working. It works just fine. I just had to switch between sources to kind of engage those speakers. But it sounds awesome. It really pushes the bass in this vehicle. And this head unit, it's got a really clean display. It's hard to see on camera, but it's a real crisp display. That beeping is kind of annoying, so I'm gonna find a way to turn that off.
I really thought it was love, but just you went. Always get caught up in love, but I am done with that. I can't get caught up in love, so now I'm, yeah.
Overall, it's a great little head unit from Boss Audio, and I'd really recommend ordering all your audio needs from Crutchfield simply because they have a seamless process. It's a really easy to use website. I'm not even going to put it in the video. It's that easy to use. You just find what you need, order it, get it in your house, and install it. They have a great customer support system as well. If you need any help, just call them up. They have a technician on the other end of the line ready to help you. I did not need to call them, however, simply because their instruction manual is just so detailed that I didn't even need help. Now keep in mind the link in the description and on the video screen are going to get you $10 off your first order at Crutchfield, so go ahead and take advantage of that. As always, put a thumbs up or a thumbs down depending on what you thought of this video, and please subscribe. If you don't, guess what's going to happen? Your radio's not going to work anymore.